Broadcasting from the Allen B. Levan NSU Broward Center of Innovation at Nova Southeastern University. Welcome to Sunshine Startups Live, featuring rockstar entrepreneurs, bright ideas, and experts on the startup ecosystem. And now your hosts of Sunshine Startups Live, Jim Ryan and John Wensveen.
Hi, and welcome once again to Sunshine Startups Live. I'm entrepreneur, investor, and startup enthusiast Jim Ryan, joined, of course, by my good friend here at the Levan Center, Dr. John Wensveen. John, it's great to be with you.
Great to be with you, my friend. Welcome back. I know I was solo for the last two sessions that we had. It's great to have you back and see that smile. So John Wensveen, Chief Innovation Officer at NSU Florida, Executive Director of the Levan Center of Innovation, also known as the world's first theme park for entrepreneurs, where we reverse engineer the success of the entrepreneur from birth of an idea through successful exit of a company or global expansion. And we have a little bit of globalization theme around our guest here today. I'm very excited.
There is, and there's a lot of connection of the dots here that we're going to talk about. And what we do talk about here at Sunshine Startups Live are we talk with startups that have traction, entrepreneurs, successful executives, those that foster the ecosystem. And today's guest, Felipe Pinzon of the Hispanic Unity of Florida, is a great guest, going to talk to us about his background, certainly about the Hispanic Unity of Florida and the tie-ins that we were just alluding to, as well as part of the model of Hispanic Unity of Florida is to talk about and support entrepreneurship of that community. And so, Felipe, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you so much, Jim.
So we're going to walk down memory lane a bit and share with us, the audience, about your background. Where did you come from originally, and what brought you to be involved with the Hispanic Unity of Florida?
Thank you so much, and John, thank you also for this invitation. So I was born and raised in Cali, Colombia. I went to La Universidad Javeriana, and I'm a psychologist by training. I got married early on, have 3 children. And back in 2000, my wife and I made a really tough, difficult decision to leave our country. It was very emotional, but we didn't have a choice. Crime and the economy actually didn't allow us actually to continue living in Colombia. So we arrived in the United States in June 2000. Start from scratch, but I'm very happy to be here. And from that moment on, I guess I said, I have to learn the language. I'm still trying to learn the language, as you can see. And I got myself enrolled in English classes at 2 different places. One of them, unbelievable, but I was Hispanic Unity. So I became a client of the organization that I happen to lead today. And as well, I was attending also classes at Sheridan Technical College in Hollywood. And I did that for 2 years. At the same time, my wife, of course, working a part-time job, and my children going to Broward County Public Schools. Extremely excited to be in the United States. 2 years later, I was extremely lucky to be hired by Hispanic Unity as a part-time employee, 20 hours a week, $10 an hour. I still remember, like today. And back then, the CEO, a few months later, offered me an opportunity to become a full-time job and lead a new program for Broward County Public School students. And of course, I got on the train and I said, there is no way I have to just to do it. And from then, of course, extremely blessed to have sort of met many mentors throughout my career, sort of continue learning the language, continue escalating, and making progress at Hispanic Unity, and supervising different programs. At some point, I got to supervise all programs and work alongside my predecessor, José Bacallao, an amazing community leader. And of course, part of this is NSU, that is also, in my heart. I came to NSU. I completed my master's degree in public administration back in 2014. And since then, just working really hard. My predecessor left, Hispanic Unity, she retired, and sort of I took the lead, and here I am trying to help thousands of immigrants and others, because we really help everyone that comes to Hispanic Unity with many programs and services.
So let's talk about Hispanic unity. So you are the definition of the American dream. You pursued it. You're successful with it. Hispanic unity is about supporting that American dream for immigrants. I'm an immigrant. Are you an immigrant?
Several generations back. Yes.
All right, but you got roots there, right? And,
Originally from New York, though.
well, it might count. It might
didn't know
count.
that.
So, I am really interested to have our audience learn about what Hispanic Unity is as a resource to our community. So if you could tell us about what the model is and what you do to help those that are seeking that American dream.
Oh, well, thank you, John, for the question and the opportunity to share with everyone the work Hispanic Unity does here in South Florida. So really our job is to, and I'm going to make it very simple, is to empower immigrants and others to become self-sufficient. That's bottom line. That's what we do, and that's what we have done for 500,000 individuals over the last 42 years. But we have a very specific strategy and service delivery programming. So we provide services in different areas, including civic engagement. So we help about 2,000 legal permanent residents become citizens every single year. And it's not just about becoming citizen, but it's being an engaged citizen. Mm-hmm. So we do so much work around voter registration and engagement as well. Since our focus is civic and self-sufficiency, we really start early on. And when I say that is with even preschoolers, right? We know how important it is to be fully prepared, when you join the school system. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're just going to continue falling behind, and chances for you to graduate on time, will be way less. So we just want to make sure those children are ready for school. We serve about 600 middle and high school students every single day. And the bottom line is just getting them ready for what comes after, graduating from high school.
Yeah.
So securing good employment, and at the same time pursuing higher education. And then we do that for their parents as well. And I say that because we use a two-generation approach, which is that we serve everyone in the household. So while the children are doing their best, at school, we are actually working with the parents to make sure they get good jobs, they start their businesses, they pay taxes, learn the language. We do so much around financial management, home ownership, you name it. So we provide about 31 services that are integrated into 12 programs. We do it out of 50 different locations throughout South Florida. And we do this in English, Spanish, Creole, and Portuguese. Wow. For some programs, we also do sign language. So we're trying to serve everyone in our community.
Wow, that's amazing. It really is. And your English is excellent, by the way.
Oh my God! That's a nice compliment for a Friday. Believe me.
This is a pretty large task that Hispanic Unity of Florida is involved with. Just to give, and you know the numbers certainly better than I do, but a third of the population of Broward County is of Hispanic background. Almost 70% of the population in Miami-Dade. Sometimes I go to Miami-Dade, I feel like I'm in South America because of such a high volume of Latin Americans there, based there in Miami. So it's a huge population to support. And you've got a large organization. Talk about, because this is a not-for-profit.
It is.
So talk about the foundation of the not-for-profit. How is it supported today? Where does the funding come from? Can you share that?
Absolutely. And it's different by community and by state, but I can tell you about, of course, what's happening in South Florida. 50% of the revenues come from local government, and that's the Children's Services Council, right? We have a few grants from the federal government, but that's not that significant. And then everything comes from private foundations, whether they are national, state, or local family and private foundations. We have to compete for every single penny. Mm-hmm. So I have to tell you, this is, sometimes I feel like a private business. You have to go out there and be able to actually provide high quality service. Or sell high quality services. You can get, the resources you need. Mm-hmm. So we compete every single day for every single penny. We have some unrestricted, what I call individual giving, if you will, and corporate giving. So many corporations in our local community that actually believe in the work Hispanic Unity does. But for the most part, that's how it's distributed. We are a mid-sized nonprofit, more or less $10 million in revenues. We are about 240 staff members, And as I said before, providing services out of 40, 50 different locations. So we continue to grow. We were at $6 million in revenues about 4 years ago. So I guess our focus today is being able to manage that growth by creating a strong infrastructure. And for that, we have to increase our ability to secure unrestricted giving, right? Get the flexibility because many grants actually don't want to pay for some overhead or the capital you need to continue growing and expanding some programs. But that's how it works. So every time there is an opportunity out there, a grant opportunity, we have to just review that grant opportunity, making sure this is the right match. We don't chase money, that for sure. So when it doesn't work for us, it doesn't work. When it's not the right fit, we just don't go after those dollars. We just want to make sure that every single penny that comes to Hispanic community supports our mission, right? In what we do best. So we have tried to stay, focused on really helping clients become self-sufficient instead of just expanding just because there is more opportunities out there. So that's the answer to your question, Jim. Sometimes I feel like it's not just a private business, but it's also very entrepreneurial. We have to reinvent ourselves all the time, and we do it, I believe, really well. We use data all the time to make sure that whatever we're doing is the right thing to do, and we discuss internally, ideas on how to do it better, to make sure that we continue being unique and different from everyone else. And sometimes it's having hard conversations and saying, you know what, we're not doing it well. We're not doing it well. I mean, so if we're not doing it well, I mean, what else we have to do? Or let someone else do it, right? In financially and speaking, I guess something else we do at Hispanic community is that we want to make sure that every single, I'm going to say it this way, but I hope you understand, every single business line, in this case, every single program, is able to sustain itself, right? We just cannot afford actually, programs that are losing money, because at the end of the day, we cannot put at risk the organization, right? So we have to be good stewards, of course, of the dollars that we receive from the government and from individual donors and corporate sector and all of that. So we are an open book, and we try to manage that very well. We are very supported by 21 board members that come from the private sector, and they do great oversight, and of course they review our financials, and they also provide great ideas, how to continue growing. And very blessed to have such a engaged group of people.
What is the geography footprint that you cover in terms of your region? That's the first question. And then the second question, the services that you're providing, are they all free of charge for the communities that you're serving?
John, we started based in Broward County, and that's what we did for about 35 years. More or less 7 years ago, we made the decision to expand into Miami-Dade as well. Going back to Broward County, I believe that we are everywhere with a very special focus in South Broward, but now we are in Deerfield. And we use every single facility that is available to provide services, because we don't want clients to come to Hispanic community. We go to them, right? And in 2017, 2018, then we expanded our footprint into Miami-Dade in partnership with Miami-Dade Public Libraries and other corporate partners, providing very specific services around citizenship and income supports, which is helping people, put food on the table and access to healthcare and all of that. Today, our presence in Miami-Dade is very strong in Hialeah and in Doral. Our strategic plan for the next 3 years as one pillar that is all around strengthening that presence by making a bigger investment, manpower, of course, and then providing more services so we can serve our more clients. But we are pretty much everywhere. Those 40 locations, 50 locations are everywhere. We own 2 buildings only, the ones that are actually in Hollywood. Those are property of Hispanic community. But they are small, and I guess that's the next conversation. They are small, and in some way, 240 staff members. So we use the schools, we use the libraries, we use the space in Hallandale in partnership with Broward County Public Schools to actually place our staff members and serve the clients. And I said that that's the next conversation because at some point, Hispanic community will have to get into a capital campaign. We continue to grow, and that comes with some pains, including, of course, making sure that we have the infrastructure. And the building may be something that we need to actually go after pretty soon.
Well, probably two really good investments, knowing the way that real estate's going in the direction here in South Florida. And we should talk offline about a mobile innovation unit that we are in the process of acquiring and designing to actually get out to underserved communities to make it a community-based organization resource. So we can talk more about that, but there may be a way to help you with that effort.
That would be awesome.
And as we're connecting a lot of dots here, you were talking about being supported, by donors, and obviously we want to recognize the passing of Susan Levan. The Levan family, not only here, provided for the Innovation Center their generous gift, but also obviously to the Hispanic Community of Florida. Entrepreneurship is obviously, Alan has talked about it, obviously, many times. Talk about entrepreneurship, the support of small business. Good portion of our audience are budding entrepreneurs, startups. They're looking for support. Talk about how the Hispanic Unity of Florida helps support entrepreneurship and small business.
Thank you. So Hispanic Unity, and I'll make just these comments as a background, and they get into answering your question, Jim. We have been placing people in jobs for the last 42 years, but at some point, perhaps around 2010, we realized that traditional employment is not the only answer for many of the families we serve. And then we quickly realized that we needed to help those that actually aspire to own a business or have a small business, but just don't have the knowledge, the resources, and tools to actually grow or bring that to scale. So we quickly partnered with some organizations here in Broward County, including Broward SCORE, and now we're doing great work with BMT and many others, Prospera, many others that are actually in our community. And it started helping about 1,500 aspiring entrepreneurs every single year. And the way we did it is from giving them the information, including maybe telling them, do not do it. You're not ready for it. It's just
Part of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
The hard advice.
Right?
Not everybody gets a trophy.
And then, of course, simple steps, whether it's marketing, business plans, that kind of thing. So giving them some education. And over the last 2 years, we have increased, the service delivery strategy. Now with BMT, we have special cohorts, smaller, now we're talking about 4 or 5 business owners that get together over several weeks, talk about very specific services and ways to help them, grow their businesses. And then, of course, the mentorship. We are always looking for mentors that can provide some one-on-one because, as you know, Jim, what is the issue for one, business owner may be not the issue for another one, right? So they all need, their one-on-ones. So we have been doing that for some time. Something else we have done since 2010 is that every year we have a powerful conference summit, which is the Entrepreneur Summit. By the way, over the last many years, has been held here at NSU. We have used the High Single School of Business, and last year we used the Levan Center. And what a powerful, actually, convening that was. And the idea is to provide the resources, the tools, the connections, so they can, of course, continue building stronger businesses. Now, as we finish our strategic plan in 2023, entrepreneurship became one of Hispanic community's pillars. So for the first time, by the way, the nonprofit, we have been doing this with the resources we had for this program, and there were not that many, right? We didn't have anyone hired. We just always asked someone else, to sort of manage whatever we needed to do. For the first time, we increased capacity, and now we're very happy to have one person that is fully dedicated just to this. And the idea is not just to continue doing the work we're doing, but I understand there are many organizations doing this work in our community. I think that we have to be somehow the convener and sort of map it out, organize this, who's doing what, at what level and how much and for how many people. So we want to play a more active role, when it comes to organizing, I guess, the resources that are in our community. And start competing for some federal funding, so we can actually grow some relationships. But extremely happy to be, in partnership with BNT and others. Yeah.
Yeah, VMT is an incredible, valuable resource here in South Florida and continues to be, and will only scale. I'm curious about those that you are surveying. Do people reach out to you before they move to the United States, or do they find you once they are actually here in Florida?
For the most part, they find Hispanic community when they're already here in the United States. However, I have received several emails, from people still living in the countries, like, hey, I'm moving to the United States. Is there a way for you to actually help us out, with A, B, and C? But for the most part, it's word of mouth. We don't do that much advertising. We don't have to, and if we do, maybe that could be an issue, because we already get so many clients and we don't have the capacity to serve everyone. That's why we always believe that more money is more mission, and we are always, very proactively looking for more resources. But yeah, for the most part, are people that are here in South Florida.
Yeah.
And immigration is a hot topic. Number one on the agenda, according to the voters today. There's a lot of different perspectives on this. From an employment standpoint, and as an employer myself, always looking for talent. Talent's hard to find today, and we need workers. How does a Hispanic unity sort of, do you help with educating, developing skills, soft skills through some of your workshops? So as these workers come in and they say, I'd like to become X or Y, can Hispanic Unity of Florida help me so I can advance my career and find a job where employers are going, I'd love to hire you?
Absolutely. Just when they come to Hispanic community, many of them actually, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but in Broward County, we have the most highly educated immigrant community in the United States.
I did not know that.
In all United States.
Wow.
You have people with bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, PhDs, and sometimes. One of the challenges, of course, is the language, right? Another challenge is that sometimes, those degrees, you cannot be in jobs, here in the United States, regardless of
medical, as an example,
for example, right? That's, so we have done some of that work around vocational training, Jim, which is customer service, digital skills, and we have provided many other trainings. We have English classes at Hispanic Unity, and those English classes is not just for you to go out and socialize. Those English classes are actually for you to secure employment and pursue higher education. But the best way to answer your question is that we made the decision, and we made this public last week, by the way, in Florida, when we told everyone that Hispanic Unity will be playing a more active role in vocational training. So we are designing our own vocational training in very specific occupations and industries. And the way it's going to work is that we are creating an inventory of clients and their background, education, and skill sets, right? So I think that that's our biggest asset. So we have, to your point, the need for workforce and employees. I believe that we have an amazing pipeline. Thousands of people that are highly educated that just need maybe this short-term certification to be able to get back, in the industry. Maybe not as a doctor, but something else in the health industry, just to use that example. So we hope by the next, few weeks, from that point is identifying corporate partners that are in need of the workforce, and then being able to say, okay, we have the manpower, we have the workforce, you need to fill these positions. And these people just lack these skills or this knowledge, whatever that is, right? Let us train those 20, 40 people for you. And the way we're doing this is that now we're doing a solicitation for training. So with different higher ed institutions in our community. And then hopefully they train those staff members, those clients of Hispanic community, and then being placed in jobs. And I'm saying all of this because it's a different model from what we have done in the past. What we have done in the past is pretty much referring clients to higher ed institutions, right? Okay, so you want to do this? No one better than Broward College or NSU or FIU. So we're gonna do it different. Now we're gonna actually own it. That's number one. Number two, as I said last week, we're not going to compromise anymore on placing our clients in low-paying jobs. We're going to partner with corporate, partners that really have high-paying jobs, right? But besides that, partners that actually are willing to create career pathways for those clients once they are in. None of this is going to be easy. And by no means I want to make it sound like it can be done, very quickly. But I believe there is no way back. I think that we have an amazing group of clients, again, highly educated, that can take over those jobs. And the marketplace, the job market, needs them. So it's not like it's a difficult, issue to resolve. And that's what I have been saying, over the past many years, and addressing the language, which is maybe perhaps is actually the biggest barrier. There are other communities very successful that actually are integrating the language into the curriculum for that specific occupation. So you don't have to speak English extremely well for everything, but you have to do it well for that specific occupation, right? Understand the terminology. So we're doing all of that, designing as we speak, working with great experts, in the space, and hopefully, we're gonna be rolling this out before 2024 ends. Yeah.
Just a follow up to this, and briefly, I had attended a workshop recently talking about job creation, job development within Broward County specifically. You shared a story, and there's nothing more beautiful than storytelling, about an individual that came from another country, came to Hispanic Unity. Can you give us the 25, 30-second story of that individual? Because it was a success story.
It was a success story. So we had someone that came to United States from Cuba. If I'm not mistaken, that's the story you're referring to. We spoke about 4 or 5 success stories, but this one is very special. She came to Hispanic community, doctor from Cuba. We provided, so much help around job readiness and resume and getting her ready for interviews and all of that. Make the connection with a very short certificate, program. In after graduation, she's now in a job that pays $26 an hour, from earning $10, $12, $15, prior to that. So it still is not enough. We have to continue helping that client. As we know, just a survival budget in Broward County for a family of 4 is $80,000. And if you do the math, that means that you have to earn $40 an hour if only one parent is working in the household. If 2 parents are working in the household, then divide that and it's $20. But just to meet the basic needs.
That's basic needs, right?
Basic needs. We're not talking about actually, going on vacation or anything like that. So clients like her, I guess, are the ones that would benefit from what we are going to launch pretty soon. But there are success stories, people that are very engaged, learning the language, working really hard. And for the most part, these are very hardworking families. It's not just sometimes one job, but it's 2 jobs, 3 jobs to make sure, that they meet their basic needs, right?
Yeah. So we have some background noise going on here right now. Welcome to the world of technology. So my apologies.
One of our robots is winding down, or winding up maybe.
But I have a question for you in terms of the future. If you were to look into the future, maybe up to 5 years, where do you see Hispanic Unity going? Are you going to be doing anything different that you're not doing today?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for asking that question. I see a beautiful facility full of classrooms and people, participating and enrolling programs. I see a multi-generational center, not just adults, but actually continue growing our preschool center so we get those children ready for what comes next. I see a stronger presence in Miami-Dade. But more importantly, I see many more success stories like the one we talk about, right? At the end of the day, it's not about buildings or programs. It's about people that are better off after participating in Hispanic Communities Program. And what I always say to myself is, I came with some education to the United States, and that was helpful. But wouldn't it been for Hispanic community and for the mentors that I met, along the way, I wouldn't be sitting here. And the reason I say that is because our job is to create the same opportunities for others. And Jim, you do this every day through BMT. It's just being out there for others that actually need help that at some point we got, right, from someone else. So that's how I see Hispanic community, being able to actually tell the story about families that are contributing to this society, families that are paying taxes, that are homeowners, that spend their money on groceries and goods and contribute to the economy. So that's the story I want to tell, in 5 years. And I think that we have done that over the last 42 years. We just have to do a better job in telling the story, of the clients we serve. Yeah.
Is it time for? I love the fact that you bring out both Rubik's cubes.
Yes.
Although one is not really a cube.
Yeah. What do you call this one again? The 12-sided one?
That's a dodecahedron.
So Jim gave me this at a VMT event that we were at, and unfortunately, later that day I dropped it, and many of the pieces fell out, and I put them all back together. So no one will ever solve this one. So I'm not going to ask you to solve this one today, or this one for that matter. But I am going to ask you what we call the Rubik's Cube question. Okay. So whatever comes out is what comes out. So this is a new one for me. If you were to design your own emoji, what would it look like and why? And it has to describe your personality.
Woo! We can always edit these recordings, so
but we generally don't.
We generally don't. And you are on the hot seat.
No, and I can when that question is being asked, or when I actually have the chance to do it, in front of my phone, what comes to my mind first, and I don't know, well, I do know why, is this, and I have to show you the picture so you guys don't get crazy ideas. Is this evil? The face of the evil, a red face. But it's a happy one. And what I see there is someone that is confident, aggressive, empowered. I got to show you the picture. Please, I have to show you the picture.
There's going to be a follow-up to this. I love it.
Absolutely. Maybe the reason for that evil is that the face of that evil is because I follow soccer since I was, very young. I mean, that's the sport in Colombia, right? And I was born in Cali, and the greatest team, in Cali is called America. By the way, it's America. And the evil is the figure that actually represents the team. Anyway, and red, by the way, is the color. So it's
I love it.
It's a hostile color.
That's right.
But we'll have to get that.
But sometimes I don't use it because they say, how people are going to take this, So
well, that's another tying into with you, both of you, with the love of soccer, for sure.
We had a very famous soccer player in that seat on one of our shows, funny
That's
enough.
right.
Thomas Rongen, he's a Dutch player, now the commentator for Inter Miami, and he was a hero of mine when I was growing up. I grew up in Vancouver, Canada, and the Vancouver Whitecaps was our Major League Soccer team, and he was playing for LA Galaxy at the time, and I had this incredible picture that I took of him on the field, and we actually gave it to him right here in the studio.
That's right.
He was very, very
nice.
Sentimental about it, but he's amazing, and his claim to fame is he was also an Olympian coach. There has been a film made after him.
Next Goal
Wins is a Disney production. He took American Samoa to the World Cup, and the goal was there was just if nobody scored less than 30 goals, it was a success, right?
That's right. That's right.
Wow, that's great. I
So
love soccer too. Did you see the news this week? Mbappe now is with Real Madrid.
Yeah, I saw that breaking news
Okay.
the other day. Yes. And we're going to
Both
get
of you-
Messi in here one day too. So.
Both of you are
There we
tuned into
go.
soccer for sure. So, Felipe, I want to thank you for your incredible commitment to obviously to the Hispanic community. You recently celebrated 22 years, right, with Hispanic
yes,
Unity.
yes.
That is terrific, and it shows
Yes.
the commitment, obviously, to the community, commitment to the organization, helping support. You and I are on the board for Broward County. For workforce development. Thank you for your support there and your contributions and your work, obviously, with the Levant Center and Nova Southeastern University, participating here and having your events here. Thank you
By
also.
the way, the event is on September 27. It's now scheduled.
Oh,
the
perfect.
Entrepreneur Summit, September
Right here.
27, here from 8 to 1 p.m. I'm
Excellent.
sorry for interrupting.
No, and it's beautiful
That's
because
amazing.
part of that segues. I want to thank you. About 5 years ago, Felipe presented me with the American Dreamer Award, and I
sir.
was very honored, with great humility, to accept that.
Jim was the keynote speaker.
I was the keynote speaker, and I had my mother, who was originally born in Puerto Rico, in attendance. And
Our number one fan, by the
and
way.
our number one fan.
Yes.
Hi, Mom. I'll say hello. She's 94 years old and very
bless her.
active, and so thank you for all your work here, certainly within the county and supporting the community. How do people reach out to Hispanic Unity of Florida, vis-a-vis through if they are interested in the support services, if they're interested in potentially gifting, or maybe even from a client perspective to participate in grants with Hispanic Unity? How do people reach you, the organization?
Thank you, Jim. And feel free to reach out, anyone that is listening. If you need services, there are different ways. One of them, of course, is stopping by. We are in Hollywood. Look us up. Our website is www.hispanic.unity.org. And you can also call us 954-964-8884. About me and how they can actually connect with me, I don't know if I should give my cell phone number.
LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a good
LinkedIn,
source.
yeah.
Felipe
LinkedIn's
Pinzon.
great.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
You just saved me there.
Not your home address or anything like that. No, we're not asking for that.
No, for sure, more than happy to meet with anyone that is interested in somehow learning about Hispanic Unity and getting more engaged in the work we do. I promise, whoever you are, you're going to fall in love. Yeah.
I love that. Felipe Pinzon, President, CEO of Hispanic Unity of Florida. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Remember to subscribe, like, and share the Sunshine Startups Live podcast and follow us on social media. If you're interested in sponsoring or appearing on the show, please email us at booking@sunshinestartups.live.